All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen, financial advisors from around the world. My name is Bill Winterberg of FPPad.com. I'm broadcasting to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. And here with me today is my guest, Frank Eden of Market76. Frank, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, most of my viewers were expecting Ethan Eden, CEO of Market76, to come on, but Ethan had an unexpected emergency that he had to attend to. So, Frank, you've been gracious enough as co-founder of Market76 to come in his stead and help educate advisors about Market76 and how they can use it in their business. So, why don't you get started about your background with Market76 and what you're doing with it?
Sure, absolutely. I've been working on Market76 since its inception, and even beforehand when Ethan and I were sort of in the process of writing out the business plan. At this point, I handle basically the entire product development cycle. So I work with developers and advisors to ensure that we get a product out there that is representative of what we think advisors want and represents what they need as far as tools go in their day-to-day business. So that sort of encompasses a lot of things, from dealing with the data, dealing with the actual development of the software, as well as working with advisors to figure out what it is they need and sort of what features are important to them. As well as sort of handling support and high level sort of client interactions.
So you at Market76, you came out with your product and launched live, or came out of your beta in mid 2011. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So since then, it's not even been 2 years. I think you've seen quite a number of advisors check out and experiment the platform, and you have some asset aggregation or data connections into transactions and asset information, and you've had quite a few $1 billion get loaded up into the CRM platform. Is that correct as well?
Yeah, that's correct. We've been fortunate enough to add somewhere in the range of between 80 and 100 billion as signed on to use the platform, and that represents over 2,000 advisors with logins.
That's pretty good. Now, I'm sure that one reason for Market76's success with signing in so many advisors so quickly is the price, and that price is that it's free. All right. So walk me through the business process of offering a free CRM and some of the structures behind that on how you're able to monetize the platform and fund development so that advisors really get a good piece of software they can use.
Sure, absolutely. So first off, when you think about a free product, I think a lot of people say, "Oh, that's why you have so many advisors. That's why your platform is so large." But it's not entirely free to them. There's a lot of work that goes in on their side, and a lot of sort of commitment that goes into working with Market76, not the least of which is trusting us with all your client information, and in the early stages, a lot of one-on-one interaction with your operations people. So it's quite a commitment, although not monetary for our sort of base subscribers. As far as the development of the application goes, and the sort of monetization, how we're able to keep the paychecks coming. We work with asset managers, so and financial product providers in general, as well as the broader technology community. So our goal is to sort of empower advisors' data and sort of make that available to the community at large in a totally privacy controlled way, and allow product providers to work with advisors to sort of bring products that are best for advisors. So that's really what we're all about, and I think almost unilaterally advisors are completely understanding and get the business model, because they know what goes into making products and reaching them, and they know that right now there's a lot of inefficiencies, many of which are sort of can be minimized digitally. The sort of broader web and the powers of the internet and e-marketing and big data in general can sort of alleviate a lot of a lot of those problems.
Well, and your revenue model is not too dissimilar from a platform like Mint.com. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most advisors are familiar that consumers can use that platform for free. And the way Mint.com monetizes it is with this marketplace of product providers, insurance companies, credit card providers, and their exposure into that audience is how Mint is able to monetize that. Is it a fair assumption or a fair comparison to make between Mint.com and Market76 in terms of the revenue side of it, but certainly not the technology side, but the revenue side?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely a fair comparison, and one we have sort of made throughout our existence to sort of explain, how we work. And I think while there's definitely a million things you could draw on that are major differences, I think for the most part the model works in a lot of ways very similar.
Yeah.
So I think Mint relies a lot more on sort of blasting directly to the user, sort of emails, credit card ads, more of a traditional internet banner ad almost in a lot of cases, although it is very data driven and customized to the user. In a lot of ways, it's still more intrusive than we'd like to be. We sort of see ourselves as working in the background to benefit advisors more than to spam them with things they don't need.
Yeah. Now, Frank, let's talk about product because that's what our viewers are really interested in. When it comes down to the CRM functionality, I had spoken with Ethan back in August about the concept of contextual CRM. What is that, and what can advisors benefit by using a Market 76 that offers that contextual CRM component?
So the way we see CRM is really just an extension of the other applications you use in your practice. So if you're a financial advisor, managing your practice is mostly about managing the accounts, and we view CRM as sort of an extension of that. We want people to. We don't see CRM as just tracking. I talked to this person on this date, but more about compliance information. What does this client want in an account, and what sort of risk are they tolerant of, and building features to fit the advisor with that in mind. And another component of that is the idea that we get a lot of data from third-party sources that we view as sort of objective data. Data that is known to be fact. This is the balance of an account. This is the address on the account. The CRM data, in a lot of ways, is sort of more subjective. If you have two advisors looking at the same account, they could draw different conclusions, or, for instance, have different phone numbers even for that account, for that person. Even in some cases, have different clients associated with it if it's a trust or something like that. So those are sort of major distinctions that we see as critical to sort of designing products that are specific to advisors. That really fit into their practice and benefit them in a way that software should.
Good. Now, some of those things you talked about with getting information, getting that fact, you do have, Market 76 does have connections with a couple asset custodians where you can get transaction detail, and then advisor users can use Market 76 to generate performance reports and do illustrations in it. I also saw a scatter plot about how an advisor can use a scatter plot to detail graphically their business and where clients fall and where assets fall in that. So walk me through some of those components that you've built into Market 76 that really takes it above and beyond regular CRM of meeting tracking and things like you talked about.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, we do offer performance reporting, portfolio accounting, and we're connected to several different data sources. Many more to come in the first quarter. And in addition to that, we don't like to think of ourselves as, okay, it's portfolio, it's portfolio accounting, it's performance reporting. One of the cool features we're rolling out here in the future is sort of a dynamic filtering that's done graphically to figure out which clients you should be contacting. Which clients are sort of ripe for you to call, who haven't you spoke to in a while, that sort of thing. And one of those features is a graphic that shows you that you can pick the accesses of essentially. And on one access, you can have, for instance, the last time I spoke to a client, or had a meeting with a client, or sent the client an email. And on the other axis, you have a variable like the account's client size, or the total market value, or for instance, value of cash in that account. Maybe it's time to move out of cash, and you haven't spoken to them in a while, so that's something to talk about. Or even more so, a specific security. Apple's been in the news a lot lately.
Right.
Maybe you want to see all of the advisors that hold Apple that you haven't spoken to in a month or more, and we offer a feature to sort of do that graphically. Sort of filter for the people that fit that criteria, and then pull up their information below, and sort of right there on the spot, bang out 4 or 5 phone calls right in a row. And that's what we see, advisors. That's the way advisors think to us, and that's what we think about when we're building the software.
Yeah, Frank, I think that's a really valid example, a real good example that, yeah, it has some CRM data, but being able to use some customized graphs like that where you can choose the axes and visually see where your clients fall in terms of not only the relative size of the client, but how long it's been since you've had that conversation. I don't think you're going to see that necessarily out of the off-the-shelf CRM alternatives that are available to advisors. So when you talk about updates like that, how often are you updating Market76, and what kind of things are you rolling out to advisors?
Yeah, absolutely. So updates, as far as sort of a development schedule goes, it's nearly daily. We push major features on Fridays, but the development team is pushing new code into production on a daily basis.
Oh.
Which is really exciting for us. It's sort of, and it's a recent development, and we've really sort of picked up the pace lately. We've been fortunate enough to sort of bring in a lot of good developers lately, and that agile development sort of mentality is something that we think really contributes to building great software, because you get instant feedback. You sort of you test things in the wild as you go. As far as the major features, like the sort of dynamic filtering and sort of more web graphic technology, that's stuff that's done every couple of weeks. So we like to push features on Fridays. Gives us the weekend to test it, make sure everything's good to go. So as early as next Friday, our users will start seeing some pretty cool new stuff, and quickly soon thereafter.
That's pretty nice. Certainly 10 years ago, an advisor would go 1 to maybe 3 years between major updates and major additions in terms of features to their software. But to hear that you've got a development schedule where you want to push stuff out weekly, but also kind of rapid test these new features that you're adding. Your advisors can give you feedback, say, hey, bring that other thing back that you took away because it was really useful. That's pretty rapid insight that you can get, which only helps you make Market76 a better, higher functioning piece of software.
Well, that's the way we think about it, and we've even had cases where so our application uses what's called dynamic web design, meaning the application adjusts to the size of your screen instead of building 4 different applications. One for your iPad, one for a small screen, one for a large screen, one for your phone. We view the application as sort of morphing to fit your screen, and we've had cases where advisors, an advisor called me up because I have a relationship with him, and he said, this looks bad on the iPad Mini, because he just got the iPad Mini, and he said this column, there's one too many fields, and we actually had it fixed within the hour. So I went over to one of our guys and said, can you take away one of these fields? It'll really clear up on the iPad Mini, and we pushed it right there, and that's that sort of responsiveness is what we pride ourselves on more than the software even, and just sort of adjusting advisors' needs. We feel that they are building the application more than we are. Their feedback, the community as a whole, is really what we're all about.
Good. Now, in the last 1 or 2 minutes that I have on the broadcast, if advisors are really interested in testing this, they are certainly drawn in by the free element. What do advisors need to know about security? With any free product, there's always going to be a question from part of the advisor community. how secure is my data? Can I really trust it when I put it in the system? And if Market 76 goes away, can I get my data back? Or maybe Market 76 isn't right for me. How do I move that data into another system? So just what's a general attitude and approach to security that you have at Market 76?
Sure, sure. Well, first of all, we take it very seriously, and I think you brought up two questions there. One is of data security, and another is data mobility.
Yeah, I do.
Um, well, they're interrelated, of course. For data mobility, we want to be the leaders in that. If you want to leave Market 76, we view it as a plus that we can get all your data back to you in a day. As far as data security, and many features in the application are geared towards that, exporting financial information, exporting your contacts, things like that.
Hmm.
Many are done on the back end on request only. As far as the security goes, we take that as serious as anything because the data is our livelihood as a company, as much as it is the livelihood of advisors to run their company. So all our servers are SA16 compliant, military grade encryption, no private client data on employees' desktops, that sort of thing. All the basic sort of prerequisites. But it goes further than that for us, and we like to, that's sort of something that's baked into our culture as a company is that this data is extremely valuable, and as such, it needs to be treated as so. So.
Yeah, I think viewers and advisors out in the community really appreciate hearing how important you take security and the steps and lengths that you go through to protect that data because it's important for Market 76's longevity and viability as a company. And advisors know very well that having that data and maintaining security is really important for their business as well. So, Frank, if advisors want to learn more about security or they want to learn more about Market 76, where can they go and find that information?
Absolutely. So, best place to find that information is on our website or contacting us directly. So, sales at market76.com is really when you're going to connect with someone on the sales team that can get you set up right away and hopefully show you the experience that I know most of our users are excited about right now.
Great. And then your website is market76.com, right?
Correct.
All right, great, Frank. Thank you so much for sharing information. I'm going to switch over right now to the schedule I have for upcoming sessions of FPPad On Air. So you should see on your screen now. Next week, I'm going to be joined by Tim Welsh, founder of Nexus Strategy. And then I'm taking a break for the next 2 weeks. February 1st, I'll be at the TD Ameritrade Institutional Conference, so there'll be no broadcast. And then following that, I'll be at the T3 Conference. So it's the darn conference season that's filling up my schedule, interrupting these broadcasts, but maybe we'll do something ad hoc. But nevertheless, Frank, thank you for stepping in at the last minute for Ethan and sharing information about Market 76.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bill. I really enjoyed it, and as always, you really shed a lot of light on what we do.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for connecting with me, and advisors, have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Take care.